How are you? I think you are fine. Students, many of the students are not seeing the videos. See that first year is called as basics for the second PUC. So you should be thorough with all the first PUC chapters. So don't neglect it. Prepare and always see that you should be completely thorough with the first PUC chapters, so that that gives more weightage for the second PUC, as well as it is very important for the NEET. So follow the videos properly and write down that in a 200 pages book, and when you are coming to the college you should submit that. Clear? Now we are starting with the next chapter called morphology of a flowering plant. So we are going in detail. So here the word morphology. So morphology is a branch of science which deals with the study of external structures. Like it may be the structure of a plant or size, color, position of all this comes under the morphology. Now we are going for a next word called as flowering plant. So flowering plant is nothing but angiosperms. Flowering plants is nothing but angiosperms. So here the word angiosperm is coined by Paul Hermann. So Paul Hermann has coined the word angiosperm. So the meaning of angiosperm, it is a Greek word. Angio means closed. Sperms means seed. So seeds. It is angiosperms are nothing but closed seed. Seeds are covered by a fruit wall. Here the fruit wall is called as pericarp. So seeds are covered by a fruit wall, and that fruit wall is called as pericarp. In this, so when you take an example called as mango. So in this mango, we know that pericarp has three parts. One is called as the outer part, and this outer part is called as epicarp. The second one is called as mesocarp, and the third one is called as a seed, inner one, and this is called as endocarp. So all the three, epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, all the three together is called as pericarp. Here the seeds are covered by the fruit wall, hence they are called as angiosperms. So they are called as closed seeded plants. The word angiosperm is coined by Paul Hermann, and the father of angiosperms, angiosperm is called P. Maheshwari, Panchanaman Maheshwari. So it's not a female. Panchanaman Maheshwari is called as the father of angiosperms. Hello students, now we will continue with the next one called as diversity of angiosperms. So in this diversity of angiosperms, so we are going for a smallest angiosperm. So smallest angiosperm is called as Olfia. So this is called as the smallest one, and we go for the next one called as the tallest one. The tallest angiosperm is eucalyptus. So here some of the eucalyptus, they grow very long, and it may be usually more than 100 meters. So like this, there are more or longest or the tallest one. Now we go for the largest, huge angiosperm. The largest, or we call it as a very huge angiosperm, and this is called as Ficus bengalensis. Ficus bengalensis, this is called as banyan tree. So this banyan tree is also called as, it is a national tree in India. National tree in India. So this is called as the largest angiosperm. Now we go for the next heading called classification of angiosperms. So we go for the next heading called as classification of angiosperms. So we are going to start with, first one is the classification is made based on the lifespan. Based on the lifespan, we are going for the classification. The word lifespan, it is nothing but a period of time from the birth to death. Natural death, from the birth to natural death, that is called as a lifespan. Based on the lifespan of a plant, we are going to classify. The first one is annuals. So the word annuals is nothing but the life cycle of a plant completes within one season. Within one season or within a year. Within 1 year, the plant grows, produces yield and dies. All this completes within a year. Hence, we use the word annuals. So, in this annuals, we see wheat, maize, rice. All this are some of the examples of the annuals. So we go for the second one called as biennials. The second one is called as biennials. So the word biennials, the life cycle of a plant completes within 2 seasons or within 2 years. Within 2 years, the life cycle of a plant completes, that is called as biennials. In this, always the first year, there is a presence of vegetative growth. There is a presence of vegetative growth. The meaning of vegetative growth, the plant keep on growing. Whereas the second year, they start producing flowering. Second year, they start producing flowering. Hence, this is also called as the reproductive period. So, second one is called as reproductive period and the first one is called as vegetative. Like this, the plant has 2 years. For their lifespan of the plant is 2 years. The examples for this is carrot, cabbage. All this comes under the biennial plants. Now, we go for the third one called as perennial. So the word perennial, this indicates the plant lives for many number of years. The plant grows for many number of years. In some of the plants, they produce flowers, but the life cycle never completes, it continues. So for many number of years, the plant grows till the death. So we say that till the death, the plants are keep on growing, has a meristematic tissues are present, so they keep growing. So like this, there are many year growth plants are called as perennial. In this, again, we are going to see one is called as monocarpic plants. So the word monocarpic, they produce flowers only once in their lifetime. They produce flowers only once in their lifetime. Example for this is bamboo. So even agave, this also flowers only once in their lifetime. So they are called as monocarpic. The second one coming under this is called as polycarpic. So the word polycarpic, they produce many flowers and many number of years they are producing the flowers. There is no restriction. So here many flowers have been produced. These flowers may give rise to fruits, and again the plant grows and produces the flowers. So they are called as polycarpic. They produce many number of years flowers are produced. So example, as we know that one of the common example is called as mango, and the other one is called as ficus. So this also some of the examples. As I said, Ficus bengalensis is also one of this called as banyan tree. So here they are polycarpic plants. So we go for classification based on the habit. So in the last I said about the lifespan. Now we are talking about the classification based on the habit. So the word habit, it is nothing but whether the plant, how the plant looks, that is usually called as habit. So here the first one is called as herb, or we blindly use a word. Based on the habit, the angiosperms are classified into herbs. So herbs are always called as a small sized plant. Small sized plant, usually they are non-woody. They have a delicate stems have been present. So example, so here you can see there is a presence of rice, maize, all this are usually considered as a herb plants. So here even we can say there is a presence of paddy, so tomato, all these plants comes under herbs. So here we go for the second one called as shrubs. The shrubs are called as medium sized plants. So usually sometimes they may be woody, may be non-woody. So it varies, but it is a medium sized plants are usually called as shrubs. So here we blindly use a word. One of this is called as hibiscus. So hibiscus is an example for the shrubs, and even some of the rose plants. Rose which are smaller may be considered as herb, but it grows into a shrub. So they are also called examples for the shrubs. So we go for the third one called as trees. So here trees are nothing but the large sized plants. They are grown bigger than the shrubs. They are large size. They are the tallest trees are also been present. So under this. So here we can again give the example called as mango, or as I used the word Ficus bengalensis, or teakwood, rosewood. All these plants comes under the trees. So we go for some more extra information along with that. Again here one of the group of plants are called as creepers. The word creepers, they usually have the presence of a weak stem. They cannot stand straight. The plant is always creeping on the ground level. So they keep on spreading, creeping on the grounds. They are called as creepers. They have a weak stem. They can't stand erect. So here the examples for this is called as watermelon. So watermelon, pumpkin. So this comes under creepers. So we go for the second one called as climbers. So here in climbers we know that again the stem is delicate stem. They require a support for the growing. So they take the support of an, it may be support may be in the form of a living trees or anything. So it is only living thing is required is not important, but it is anything. It may be a wood piece or an iron rod, anything. With the help of that they keep on creeping and keep on growing. So they are called as climbers. For this climbers, the examples for this is cucumber. So one of the example is cucumber, and the other one is called as jasmine, also can be taken as an example. Hello students, we are going for the plant body of angiosperms. So here, plant body of angiosperm is differentiated into two parts. One part which is below the ground, they are always called as root system. So above the ground, all these parts together is called as shoot system. So in angiosperm plant, usually which is underground called as root system, above the ground is called as shoot system. Again, in the root system, so we see that there are different types of roots we are going to discuss in detail. Now, when we go for a shoot system, so in a shoot system, again they are differentiated into two parts. One is called as a vegetative part and the other one is called as reproductive parts. So vegetative parts. So it is differentiated into two parts. One is called as vegetative parts. So we'll finish this. So the vegetative parts are nothing but they are vegetative in function. So that indicates what is vegetative in function means. For example, when we take a leaf, so leaf is called as kitchens of the plant body, where 99.9% all the angiosperm leaves are green in color, helps in photosynthesis. So the preparation of food, manufacturing of food is by the leaf. So leaves are also called as kitchens of the plant body. So this is one of the vegetative parts of the plant body. So leaf, stem. Stem is nothing but it is an erect part and cylindrical, usually branched. So there is a presence of mechanical support to the plant body, as well as the stem also helps in conduction of water and minerals, and it supplies food from the various parts to root or root to various parts of the plant body. So this is one, and one more may be called as branches. So we know that from the nodal regions of the plant body, nodal regions of the stem, there is a presence of branches. So this branch again holds leaves and flowers, fruits in all this. So this are called as vegetative parts of the plant body. So we go for the second one called as the reproductive parts. Second one is called reproductive parts of the plant body. So in a reproductive plant means it is nothing but which has the presence of sex organs and they help in reproduction. It helps in continuation of generation. So here the first one we use the word inflorescence. So the word inflorescence is nothing but it is a group of flowers. So group of flowers, cluster of flowers is called as inflorescence. This also helps in reproduction, and the next one is called as flowers. So even the flowers also helps in reproduction. It is also a reproductive part. The next one is fruits. Fruits and even seeds. Even this fruits and seeds are the result of the reproduction, where a male and female gametes are fused to give rise to fruits. This fruits has the capacity to give rise to new plant. Fruits and seeds are also called as the reproductive parts of the plant body. So we are going each one. For example, root, stem, leaf, each one we take in detail. So we go for the next one called as root system. So we go in detail about one after the other. So we start with root system. So usually roots are underground. So they are always present below the ground. So normally the seed has two parts. One is called as a radicle and the other one is called as plumule. The radicle is always giving rise to root system. So radicle always gives rise to root system and plumule always gives rise to shoot system. This should be remembered, important for your NEET exam also. So radicle gives rise to root system and plumule gives rise to shoot system. Now, roots are always underground. So this is one of the important point. And we know that some of the roots are above, that we are going to discuss now. So some root, 99% of the roots are below the ground and some are above. So how to differentiate whether it is a root or a stem? Means roots do not have no nodes and internodes. Nodes and internodes. So usually roots do not have nodes and internodes. Nodes and internodes are totally absent, they are not present. This is a major character between a root and a stem. So stem has a presence of nodes and internodes, roots do not have nodes and internodes. So what are nodes, what are internodes? I will show you in the stem. Now we will go for the other one. The roots are always called as positively geotrophism. So the meaning of positively geotrophism, they always moves towards the gravity. So always when a roots are being sown, or we say that when a seed is sown from a radical, it gives rise to roots. Roots always moves downwards, they move towards the gravity. For that we use a word geotrophism. Because it is moving towards that, we blindly use a word positively geotrophic. Next, roots are positively hydrotrophic. Hydrotrophic or hydrotrophism. It is nothing but moving towards water. Always roots moves towards the water. For that we use a word hydrotrophism. Next, roots are always called as negatively phototrophism. Meaning of phototrophism, moving towards a light. Moving towards a light is always called as phototrophism. Here roots never move towards the light, they move away from the light. So we blindly use a word negatively phototrophism. Now we will start with different types of roots. The first one is called taproot system, fibrous root system and adventitious roots. So here different types of roots based on the radical. When we take based on this seed has a radical, based on the radical, the root system is classified into only two types. One is called as a taproot system, one is called as fibrous root system. So when we talk about different types of roots, there are even adventitious roots are also present. So we are going for taproot system. Taproot system. So in a taproot system, the radical is all, this is called as radical present in the seed. The radical is giving rise to a main root. The radical is always giving rise to a main root, and this main root is also called as primary root. The radical is giving rise to a main root, or it is called as primary root. This primary root will be giving rise to a secondary root. So it is giving rise to secondary root. So this is called secondary root. In turn, secondary root in turn gives rise to tertiary roots. They are called as tertiary roots. So here the secondary root gives rise to tertiary root. So this is called tertiary root. So like this, main root is called as primary, primary root is giving rise to secondary root, secondary root is giving rise to tertiary root. But here, very important one is, the secondary and tertiary never take their origin from the radical. Radical is giving rise to primary, primary in turn give rise to secondary, secondary in turn give rise to tertiary. Such type of roots are always called as taproot system. So we go for the next one called fibrous root. So fibrous root takes its origin again from the radical. So the seed has radical, and this radical gives rise to fibrous root, and this fibrous root, there is no differentiation between primary, secondary and tertiary. So all the roots, they take their origin from the radical. So here no differentiation between primary, secondary and tertiary, hence they are usually has the presence of the root take their origin from the radical. So this is usually you can see in the grasses, monocots. All monocots has fibrous and dicots has a presence of taproot system. So we go for the other one called as adventitious roots. So here adventitious roots are nothing but, here the roots take their origin, very important here, the root take their origin other than the radical. So here other than radical, this is a very important point, because based on the radical it may be a taproot system or fibrous roots. Other than the radical, all the roots overall called as adventitious roots. So for example here it may take their origin from the nodal region of the stem. So usually when we go for a sugarcane, so we know that sugarcane has the presence of joints like this, and this joint is always called as node. From one node to another node, this gap is called as internode. So nodes and internodes is an important character of a stem, and nodes and internodes are not there in the root. This is very important, very clear. So from the nodal region, the roots have been produced like this. From the nodal region, roots have been produced. So all these roots may be called as adventitious roots. Or when we go for a one more example called as Ficus bengalensis, banyan tree. So from here the roots will hang down. The nodal region of a stem, roots will hang down. These roots are also called as adventitious roots. In adventitious we use a word, this is called as a prop roots. And in this we call this as a stilt roots. Like this, different types of roots have been present in adventitious. We go in detail this. So we'll continue with the next word called as regions of root. So we know that the root has the presence of primary root, secondary root, tertiary root in the taproot system. So in the roots they have three regions. The first one, regions of a root, there are three regions. The first one is called as region of cell division. So here region of cell division is also called as meristematic region. They are also called as meristematic zone or meristematic region. So in this first region, the root has a presence of root tip or apex of a root has the presence of meristematic cells. Has the presence of meristematic cells have been present. So here this meristematic cell is nothing but it's keep on dividing. So here the meristematic cells always undergoes rapid cell divisions. So here the cell division is going to keep on taking place, or cell division is taking place. But here, important point for the NEET, it should be remembered, here the cell division is always mitosis. It is not meiosis. It's very clear. So here it undergoes mitotic cell division. Mitotic cell division takes place here. So here mitosis is nothing but equational division. One cell give rise to 2, 2 give rise to 4, like this it undergoes mitotic. So here the tip has the presence of meristematic region, so it's keep on dividing, and this part is always soft part. So this region of cell division, these roots are always covered by a root cap. So the protection is required. So once the root cap is damaged, the meristematic region zone will be damaged, cell division will be delayed. So again it must and should produce a root cap region or root cell division, and then root cap should be produced. So here it takes a lot of time. So region of cell division should be protected by root cap. Here the root cap cells are always called as calyptrogen, because here the roots will be keep on penetrating in the soil, so the apex should be protected. It is protected in the presence of root cap. The root cap cells are called calyptrogen. This should be remembered. So when we go for an aquatic plants, so when you take an aquatic plant, in the aquatic plants, the region of cell division is followed by root cap. So there is a presence of root pockets. In place of root cap in the aquatic, there is a presence of root pockets are being present, and these root pockets are filled with water and air, so they helps in buoyancy. It is filled with air, helps in buoyancy. So this is in aquatic plants, whereas in a normal plant the root cap is present. So we go for the second one called as region of elongation. So it is called as elongation zone. So region of elongation. So in this region, so here as we know that the water is keep on entering into the root. Once the water is entering into the root, here the cells are full with water. We use a word turgidity. So once a turgor pressure is created in a cell, the cell is elongated or it is enlarged. Because of constantly enlarging, here the cells will be elongated. So here due to continuous elongation and enlargement, this zone is called as region of elongation. So when we go for the third region called as region of maturation. So this is called as maturation zone. So in a region of maturation, so here the cell once gets matured, here the cells will be keep on dividing in the first region, and in the second region it is been elongated, and in the third region the cells becomes matured. Once the cells matured, automatically here there is a formation of root hairs. So very important for NEET, root hairs are always developed from the region of maturation. So once the root hairs have been produced here, this region is also called as piliferous region. This is important. Root hair regions are also called as piliferous region, and this usually helps in, or we blindly use a word piliferous, and there is a root hairs. Root hairs helps in absorption of water and minerals, and it has been sent to the aerial parts. So we go for the next one called as modification of taproot systems. So as I mentioned, the radicle is giving rise to primary root in turn give rise to secondary root in turn give rise to tertiary root. So this type of roots are called as taproot systems. So we go for the modification. So here one of the fleshy taproot system, this is used for storage. So I am talking about storage modifications. So taproot system helps in storage. So based on the storage, there are different types of roots. The first one is called fusiform roots. So in a fusiform roots, so we know that the root takes its origin from the radicle, it gives rise to narrow root and leads to swelling at the center, and it leads to gradually tapering takes place. So here this type of roots can be noticed in radish. So I'll repeat this. In a fusiform root, there is a presence of gradually narrow, swelling, and again gradual tapering. So both the sides there is a presence of taperings can be noticed in a fusiform. Example for this is radish. Radish is called Raphanus sativa. This is the first one. So we go for the second type of modification. The second one is called as the conical root. So in a conical root, just we see that the radicle is giving rise to large swelling and gradual tapering can be noticed. So here it was narrow swelling, but here from the radicle it gives rise to large swelling and gradual tapering can be noticed, and this can be noticed in the carrot called Daucus carota. So here this is usually called as conical root. It appears like a cone, large swelling with a gradual tapering takes place, called as conical root. We go for the third one called as napiform root. So in a napiform root, the radicle gives rise to large swelling. There is a presence of a large swelling takes place, and there is a presence of sudden tapering takes place. So here the gradual tapering never takes place. Here it leads to gradual tapering. So gradual tapering takes place here, but here they undergo sudden tapering takes place, and example for this is called as beetroot. So here Beta vulgaris, beetroot, these are nothing but the storage taproot modifications. So we go for adventitious root modifications. So different types of adventitious root modifications are of different types. So we are going for the first one called as prop roots. So we know that in a Ficus bengalensis, there is a presence of the branchings. From the branchings, the roots always come down. As I said, they are called as positively geotrophism. They are moving towards the ground. As they hang down, they touch to the ground. As they touch to the ground, they give a mechanical support to the stem. Hence, they are called as prop roots. So this is called as prop roots, helps in mechanical support. So we go for the example banyan tree. So we go for the second one called as stilt roots. So as here sugarcane, maize, they are called as monocot, has the presence of fibrous root system. I am repeating this. Sugarcane, maize, normally towards the lower side there is a presence of fibrous root system, but from the nodal regions of the stem there is a presence of roots, and these roots are always called as adventitious roots. They are here from the lower nodal regions, the roots have been produced, and these roots are always called as stilt roots. And again this also helps in mechanical support. So we go for the third one called as tuberous roots. So in a tuberous roots, so again from the lower nodal region, the roots are usually elongated. There is a presence of tuber-like structures have been present. So tuber-like structures have been present from the lower one, and this is called as tuberous roots. And example for this is called as sweet potato, Hippomea batatus. This is called as sweet potato. So when we go for the next one called as fasciculated roots. So in a fasciculated roots, they usually towards the lower side of the stem. Again, there is a presence of a spherical shaped structures like this, or elongated structures have been present, and they are called as fasciculated roots, and this fasciculated roots can be noticed in dahlia, and even asparagus there is a presence of fasciculated roots have been present. Now when we go for annulated roots, so usually the roots will be in the form of annular rings. So like this, annular rings will be present and keep on tapering towards the lower side. Such type of root is called as annulated roots. Annulated roots. This annulated roots, example, Psychotoria. Next, nodulose root. Nodulose root, example for this is called as turmeric, Curcuma longa. Turmeric. So here in this, the roots always ends with a swell like structures or a nodule like structures have been present at the tip. So they are called as nodulated roots. Like this, roots have been present towards the tip terminal region. So they are called as nodulated roots. Now we go for moniliform root, Indian spinach, called as Basilaria rhubarb. So here the roots has the presence of intervals. At the interval there is a presence of swelling like structures keep on reducing as they are moving towards the tip. So like this, there is a presence of beaded like structures have been present. As these beads go down, they are becoming smaller. So it is called as moniliform roots, or moniliferous roots, or moniliform roots have been present, and this can be noticed in spinach. So we go for the next one called as nematophores. So nematophores are nothing but the plants which grows in the mangrove regions. So mangrove regions, the plant grows. Usually here, as I mentioned, there is a presence of roots or positively geotrophism. So they move towards gravity. But here in a mangrove trees, here just we see that the roots which has a taproot system, they go deep into the soil, and here the roots will come out and stand erect. So here they are always act like a phototrophic. They move towards the light, or they come out of the gravity and stands like a small sticks, and this stick like structures are called as nematophores. So this nematophores has the presence of minute openings called as lenticels, and this lenticels take the external air and helps in respiration. So nematophores always helps in respiration. So they are also called as respiratory roots. They helps in respiration, hence they are called as respiratory roots. Example, Rhizopora. So this is one. So we go for the second one called as climbing roots. So in a climbing roots, they take the support of the other. It may be living or non-living, support is taken, and the plants will keep on growing. They have the presence of weak stem. So here, when there is a presence of a stem, they coil this and keep on growing. So once they take the support and keep on growing, so that is usually called as climbing roots. So example, there is a presence of black pepper, and in many of the houses they grow money plant. So they keep a bottle. In this bottle they take water, and the plant is kept, and with the help of a thread it can be tied. So the plant starts climbing on the thread and keep on growing. So this is called as climbing. Now we go for the photosynthetic. So usually some of the plants, there is a example called as Trapha. In this, the roots are green in color and helps in photosynthesis. So example for this is Trapha by Spinora. This is one. Next we go for the other one called as parasitic roots. So the word parasite, which depends upon other, but here which depends upon other living organisms, for that we use a word parasite, or we call it as penetrating roots. So here when you take, there is a tree, usually on this tree the plant starts climbing. As they are climbing, from the nodal regions they produce a finger like projections, and these finger like projections are called as hastoria. Finger like projections are called hastoria. This hastoria penetrates into the stem and they suck water and minerals from the host plant. From the host plant they suck, hence they are called as parasitic plants. Example called as Cuscuta. They are called as total parasitic plant. So we go for the next one called as epiphytic roots or clinking roots, hanging roots, or we may even call aerial roots. So they are present above the ground. So here when you take a plant, tree, so here this is a tree trunk. On the tree trunk the plants are growing. So on the plant, the plants are growing here. They produce a finger like spongy roots. Finger like spongy roots have been produced, and these roots will be hanging down, and this are usually called as velamen roots. There is a presence of hanging spongy textures have been present, and this hang, they take only support on the plant to grow, but it absorbs the velamen roots, absorbs the moisture, and they usually prepare their own food. Example is vanda, and the other one is called as orchid plants. So we go for the functions of a root. So we know that all the roots are underground. Only few are aerial, have different functions. The major function of all the roots is fixation and absorption. So the roots holds the soil, and soil particles are molded so that it avoids soil erosions. So it helps in fixation of the plant body, and it also helps in absorption of minerals and nutrition. So we go for the second one called as transportation. So usually the roots absorbs water and minerals, and it is transported to the aerial parts. So we know that there is a presence of xylem. Xylem is called as water conducting system, and phloem is called as food conducting system. So the water and food is transported from root system to the aerial parts, so it also helps in transportation. So we go for the next one called as storage of food. So some of the roots are modified for storing the various types of foods. For example, as I mentioned, there is a presence of fusiform roots, radish, conical roots called as carrot, napiform roots called as beetroot. Like this, there is a storage of food is also present. Next, some roots also helps in photosynthesis because they are green, has a presence of chlorophyll. The example for this is trapper. Next we go for respiratory roots. So as the respiratory roots, there is a presence of, in a mangrove, saline water, there is a presence of roots comes out above the water level or above the ground called as pneumatophores. So this pneumatophores helps in respiration, has the presence of lenticels. Through the lenticels they take in of air and respire. So the example for this is called as rhizopora. Next we go for mechanical support. So in a mechanical support there are different types of roots are there. One may be called as a prop root system, and there is a presence of stilt root systems, or there are various types, for example climbing roots or hanging roots, clinking roots. Like this, different types of mechanical support is given by the root system. Next we go for epiphytic plants. So epiphytic means which grow on the other plants and other trees called as epiphytes. On the epiphytes, the plant grows on the tree trunks or other plants, and they produces the velamen roots which are spongy in texture, absorbs the moisture and prepare their own food. One of the example for this is Vanda.